Hi, friends. It's time for another flip through. So, you've seen this book 2 weeks ago, and today I want to tackle the Create This Book 2, which is also entirely Harry Potter themed. One thing I forgot to show you last week are the edges of the books. I actually turned them into house scarves. And yeah, obviously Hufflepuff is missing here, so I'm still waiting for Create This Book 4 to complete all 4 Hogwarts houses. But now let's have a look at Create This Book 2. First of all, we have a recreation of Mary Grandprix's cover art for the Chamber of Secrets. For the inside cover, I did this weird slime on checkers again, and I wrote, "This book was created by Mariah Elizabeth and Harry Potter." For the empty space, I just did a Hogwarts crest, and the tips and tricks pages are glued together in here. Yeah, now you can see I stole my own idea. I already did a phoenix for the fresh start page here, although it looks rather flat. Yeah. Anyways, for Create Confetti, I printed out the first page from Sorcerer's Stone and cut out these lightning bolt shapes. And on the opposite page, I did Luna with her lion head and some Gryffindor confetti. For the lyrics page, I did a song by Celestina Warbeck, a wizard singer whom Molly Weasley is a huge fan of. The color comparison is from the view of Harry based on the houses he likes and dislikes, and I added a student for the respective houses. We have Cho Chang, Angelina Johnson, Hannah Abbott, Pansy Parkinson, and Crabbe and Goyle. For the merge page, I did a chimera, which is a merge of 3 animals, the lion, the goat, and the dragon. And on this page, we had to integrate this line into a drawing. So I turned the line into a trapdoor and added Fluffy and the flute. I created a puzzle by drawing this chibi version of the Sorcerer's Stone cover and cutting it into puzzle pieces. And for the assortment page, I did the list of school supplies that first-year students need. Yeah, here I had to create word illustrations, so I did some Hogwarts subjects. Yeah, I like the History of Magic one, but the rest is meh. Anyways, here is one of the prompts that I didn't do yet. In total, there are 6 more prompts left to do. Here I created randomness with some random objects, so a pumpkin juice bottle, a time turner, a remembrall, and a howler. On this page, I had to create shine, so I did the Lumos spell that you could activate on the Lumos Gargoyle in the Chamber of Secrets video game. So if you've played that, this might look familiar to you. Alright, this self-portrait is obviously done by Harry Potter himself. I added a bunch of attributes, for example, he's a Parselmouth, a Seeker, a Gryffindor, etc. This invention wasn't created by me, but instead by Perpetua Fancourt, who is on a Chocolate Frog card in the video games, and she invented the Lunascope. On this page, I created a reminder. I wrote down the text from the prophecy and also added a drawing of the prophecy. And this is the scented page. Here I did Slughorn's potion glass, where he taught about Amortensia, the love potion. And this potion smells different to every person depending on what they find attractive. For Create a Page, I did a Daily Prophet page with the Flying Fort Anglia Mystifies Muggles article, and also added a Fort Anglia. Then here I had to create color, so I did Gryffindor Scarlet, Slytherin Emerald, and Ravenclaw Aquamarine, and then added several objects that had these colors. Create Beauty Out of Ugliness was inspired by the Chocolate Frog card of Laverne de Montmorency, an inventor of many love potions. And for Create Ugliness Out of Beauty, I chose the Death Day party of Nearly Headless Nick. It's beautiful to celebrate special occasions, but it's ugly if you have to celebrate your own death. This is one of my favorite pages. The prompt is to create additions to several circles that were on the page already, and I turned all the circles into planets and added Professor Sinistra, the astronomy teacher. Yeah, the status was actually created by Ron. He feels awkward at the Yule Ball because he looks and smells like his great aunt Tessie. Next is create a character. I chose the adjective Japanese, the color multicolored, and the animal phoenix. And what you see here is the Hoo-Hoo, a Japanese firebird and mascot of the Japanese Quidditch team. The next prompt is to create a mini book, so I drew some books and Madame Pins, and in the mini book I wrote down all kinds of spells from the video games. I was a huge fan, especially of the early video games. Let me know in the comments if you also played them. I'm curious. Okay, next I created drips on this dark mark. And on the Create on Black page, I did the probably most popular quote from the series, "After all this time, always." And of course added the Doe Patronus. On the next page, Harry is daydreaming about Cho, and I added the patented daydream charm from Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. For the activity page, I did Harry's favorite activity, which is Quidditch, and added Ron and Ginny. For the handprints page, I tried something new. I wanted to recreate the scene in Snape's Memories when young Lily lets a flower grow out of her hand and, upsets Petunia with that. This is another one of my favorite pages. It's Create String Decor, and my string is actually the red tail of poor Scabbers, who is chased by Crookshanks. For Create a Design, I did several festive dresses from the Yule Ball, the Weasley Wedding, the Slug Club, and so on. And here I created Sadness with Harry and Hermione standing in front of Harry's parents' grave at Godric's Hollow Graveyard. Yeah, for the split decision, I wanted to try a style swap for the first time. So I drew Harry, Hermione, and Luna in the style of Monster High. Okay, I still need to create a wish. For the modified character, I chose Tonks. She is a metamorph magus, which means she can modify her appearance at will. And here, for example, she has the duck beak. Create incompletion. Yeah, I literally did. Okay, and here we have contrast. So a high point of the day was when Harry won the Triwizard Cup. A low point, however, was when this cup brought him straight to Little Hangleton Graveyard, where he encountered Voldemort. Okay, here I had to create a line. So first of all, I did the French Sorcerer's Stone cover, and then I wrote the first sentence from Sorcerer's Stone in all different languages that I could find. That was a hell of a research, but it was so much fun. I really enjoyed doing that. I still need to do the repurposing. And for seasonal decor, I did Halloween at Hogwarts with dancing skeletons, bats, and huge pumpkins. This is a fun one. Create whatever. So here I just glued in some pages I did back when I was a university student. And during particularly boring lectures, I used to doodle like crazy. For example, here, Dumbledore's chocolate frog card, or here another page completely crammed full with all kinds of Harry Potter doodles. Yeah, this page was a fail. I wanted to create bleed, so letting this Patronus bleed through to the next page, which looked horrible, so I just glued another sheet of paper on that page and then added some promo art from the early video games, and I created this weird border. Next is Harry's dream journal. I just wrote down some dreams that he had in the books. And for create softness, I did the Demiguise and the Niffler from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Then next, I created an inventory. So something old Harry owns is the Marauders map. Something new is the Quidditch Captain Badge. Something ugly, the Grow Your Own Wards kit. Something cute, Dobby's drawing. Something handmade, a Weasley jumper. Something gifted, the Firebolt. Something broken, the Advanced Potion Making book. And something thrifted, Uncle Vernon's socks. The next prompt is create splatter. So here I did the scene where Dobby drops on Petunia's pudding on Mrs. Mason's head. And yeah, I just splattered paint all over the page. Then for create layers, I recreated the envelope that Mrs. Weasley sent to the Dursleys with way too many stamps on it. And I also added a part of the letter and some Quidditch World Cup advertisement. Next is create a question. Here I did Gilderoy Lockhart's essential knowledge test that we see in the second movie and added Hermione's answers. And on the opposite page we have Susan Bones and Hermione swooning in Lockhart's class. Here's another one of my favorite pages, create a historical reference. Here I did a page from Quidditch Through the Ages. And I recreated the illustration and the text from the book about, an ancient German version of Quidditch. On the next page, I gave the boggart in the form of Snape a makeover with Neville's grandma's clothes. And for the colorful page, I did the stained glass window with the mermaid from the prefect's bathroom. Here is a checklist of all the obstacles you have to overcome to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. And I added some pre-movie illustrations to that page. Well, here is my comic strip, and for this I didn't use any reference. So yeah, this is my style without using any references. The miracle that I created is the Weasley wedding that still took place in the most turbulent of times. And I drew Bill and Fleur and Aunt Mariel. Yeah, for create cuteness, I just did a bunch of chibis. Here is another one of my favorite pages. It's create dissension, and I did Colin taking pictures of Harry all the time, which Harry really hated. And I think the photos just turned out so cool and funny. I really love them. Another prompt I still need to do. Then we have create reflection, dedicate this page to your past self. Well, this is more from the perspective of Dumbledore. I added The Life and Lies of Albus Dumbledore by Rita Skeeter. And then here we have the letter from young Dumbledore to Grindelwald and an old photograph. For create color temperature, I did the Hogwarts founders. So we have Gryffindor and Hufflepuff with warm colors, and Slytherin and Ravenclaw with cool colors. I still need to create emphasis. Then for create an alphabet, I did the Futhark, which is a rune alphabet. And then I created a repair. We have an old scribbled, ripped page of advanced potion making, and I turned it into a new page using the spell Reparo. For the next prompt, create imitation, I did the portrait of the fat lady. And for the pastel page, I did Hagrid's birthday cake and, Dudley in his pastel pajamas with the pigtail. This is maybe my all-time favorite page. It's create a series, and for that I created all the German Harry Potter covers. Then we have another Weasley product for create a shock. It's You Know Pooh, and it's absolutely shocking advertisement. Next is create a room. I think this was the first page I did in this book, and I just did Harry's room at number 4, Privet Drive. For create animal prints, I did the hoof prints of a centaur and a unicorn. I absolutely hate this green background though. Next, we have a difference in altitude. We have something underwater, the Grindylow, and then something in the air, the Thestral. This is another one of my favorites. Create a mystery, hide something in or on this page. Do you see it? Here's the reveal. It's Harry under the invisibility cloak. And yeah, he's obviously in Hagrid's hut here. Next up, we have create variety. So I drew Hermione in a variety of styles. And I actually did the same for Harry in Create This Book 1. Okay, here we had to put something on a pedestal, and I chose Scaligrow and added also Madame Pomfrey. For Create Confusion, I did a page from the Quibbler with a lot of confusing content and Xenophilius Lovegood. And then for Create Peace, I did the Hogshead with Aberforth Dumbledore, the portrait of Ariana Dumbledore, and the Goat Patronus. And then next is Create Assemblage. I assembled some witches and wizards of the month from J.K. Rowling's old website. I'm so sad it's not online anymore. Here I chose wizarding schools as theme and added Bobato and Durmstrang crests, as well as Madame Maxime and Igor Karkaroff. For Create Repetition, I did the spell that you need to repeat over and over again in order to become an animagus. This spell is from an exclusive writing on Pottermore. Then I created Positivity with some DA members, Neville, Dean, and Seamus. And then I created Negativity with Magicus Might followers in the Ministry. These are Umbridge, Thickness, and Yorksley. This prompt asks to create modern art, so for that I created the character designs that you find in the most recent merge. The next page asks us to create a new prompt by combining instructions from other prompts. So my prompt is to create a reassemblage of letters to form new words and then translate the pun into different languages. So the reassemblage is Tom Marvel a Riddle to I am Lord Voldemort. And on the opposite page, I wrote down how this was done in different translations of the series. Here I created Disproportion. Yeah, this is on Marge being blown up and a very shocked Uncle Vernon watching. For the neon page, I tried some pixel art with very vibrant colors. So we have Luna and Tonks here. For the disorientation, I did Harry and Ron in the pre-movie style on broomsticks and glue them in however the book would land when I rotated it. Alright, create a personal challenge. Here I wanted to try some pop-up art. First, I found a template online that I printed out and assembled to practice a little bit. It's this owl popping out of the envelope. This was nice and fun, but I also wanted to do my very own pop-up art, so I created this scene where Uncle Vernon sees a cat, which is actually McGonagall, reading a street map. It wasn't as difficult as I thought. Here you see the top view, it's actually quite simple, and yeah, it was so much fun. I definitely want to do more pop-ups in the future. For Create a Dichotomy, I didn't follow the prompt literally, but yeah, for me a dichotomy is that the very handsome Tom Riddle and the super ugly Lord Voldemort are one and the same person. Here is Harry's activity log from his 6th year at Hogwarts. So he regularly goes to lessons, Quidditch practice, the Slug Club, private lessons with Dumbledore, and Hogsmeade weekends. The next prompt, create a list of pet peeves, I also didn't take literally. Instead, I dedicated it to Peeves the Poltergeist, like he's pictured in the video games, and just added some of his stupid songs and puns. Here I did a recreation, so on the right page we have the pre-movie version of Ron from 2001, And on the left page, we have a more recent Funko version of Ron from 2015, maybe. This was also a very fun page. I created a translation of the word wand in all kinds of languages and writing systems. It was super fun looking up all these words in different languages. And to make the page a bit more interesting, I added this drawing of Ollivander as well. The prompt on this page is to use only 3 colors. I didn't follow it on the entire page, but just for this piece here. So what we see here is the walk of the Qilin that takes part in Bhutan in the 3rd movie of the Fantastic Beasts series. The next prompt is to create documentation of your current belongings. So here I did Harry's moleskin pouch that he takes with him in Deathly Hallows. And in there is the letter from Lily to Sirius. Then the fake Horcrux medallion, the golden snitch, his broken wand, the Marauder's map, and the shard from Sirius' broken two-way mirror. And here I tried a knife painting for the first time, this owl here. And I also added Bellatrix and her knife to the page. On this page, we have to create unexpected color, so make something colorful that is usually black and white. I've seen in another video a colorful chess game, which was so cool that I decided to also do a colorful wizard chess game for this page. Then I created an alteration, so we have the ugly spider Aragog on the left page, and I turned it into something super cute actually on the right page. Last but not least, the official end. Here I drew the final scene from Deathly Hallows Part 2. I ignored the very final 19 years later scene because I don't like it. And we finish off with more slime drops on checkers. Yeah, so this was my Harry Potter themed Create This Book 2. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and liked my Harry Potter themed ideas. Stay tuned for part 3. And if you haven't already, also check out my video where I flipped through the Harry Potter themed Create This Book 1. Bye bye!